Hey guys, MCU Collector here with another figure review, and next up is the Hasbro Marvel Legends series X-Men movie 20th anniversary line. This is the comic version, the 2-pack of Rogue and Pyro. So when this was first announced, I assumed it was going to be the comic pack because we saw that Rogue actually at Toy Fair. Some websites were saying it would be a movie 2-pack, which wouldn't make sense because why would we want a Pyro figure from the movies? It just wouldn't look good. There's nothing about it that would translate into a good action figure. Same goes for Rogue, to be honest, too. So I'm glad we got this 2-pack. This is actually the Rogue that they showed at this year's Toy Fair. They actually revealed that version of Rogue years ago at a Comic-Con, but that figure never ended up getting released, and it's a good thing because with the updates that they've been able to do with articulation on the female bodies, we get this improvement, and this one does have pinless legs, so we'll take a closer look at that. But an awesome looking set, the exact same box that we saw with like the Old Man Logan and the Old Man Hawkeye. We see the X logo there, X-Men up there. It's the same box style that we get in the anniversary line every year. This is the 3rd year now, right? Marvel Studios the first 10 years, then the Marvel 80th anniversary, and now this one. That's right? This is 3rd year? Okay. So there, we have awesome artwork of Pyro. On the side, we get it of Rogue. But on the back of the package, we actually get that same exact artwork, and it just looks outstanding. I really like the way it came out looking. I believe this is the same artwork from John Tyler Christopher. Just looks great. I really like it. But enough of the package. Let's get it open and take a closer look at these figures. Okay, so here are Rogue and Pyro out of the package, and some pretty good figures that I'm happy to have. Rogue, I don't think was really all that necessary, unless you're a big Rogue fan. You know, everybody wants the 90s Jim Lee era Rogue, but this is a good Rogue nonetheless. A couple of different accessories. Rogue comes with interchangeable hands, so nothing really special. Same typical female hands that we get every single time. I already switched one out, but out of the package, she just has fists. Pyro comes with these 2 flame effects that we've seen used multiple times, like with Sunfire. Both figures came with these. I believe both figures did. But the cool thing is they both each have interchangeable heads, and the cool thing about these interchangeable heads is they both have, you know, the kind of a similar expression. This one's a little bit more angry. This one's a little bit more sinister looking with that kind of evil grin. So we'll take a closer look at that, and then we'll take a closer look at these figures. Okay, so first we'll take a look at the Rogue figure, and there's nothing really special about this head sculpt. I don't really care for it all that much, to be honest with you. When it was first shown, I think it showed all brown hair, but then they finally added the white streak kind of in front. It's a little sloppy kind of how they applied it, but again, this head sculpt is just okay. The paint apps of it are applied nicely, so I don't have any real complaints in terms of that. Let's pop this off and switch out the head with the other expression. And one thing that this scarf, you could remove it if you wanted to, and a good thing is because it really hides the fact that we get a lot of that green paint bleed. Well, the molded plastic is green, and then the skin tone was painted on, and some of that green is kind of bleeding through, so that scarf really hides that when you pop it on with the head, so that is good. But this head sculpt I definitely like a lot more because we kind of get that mad, angry expression, and it just looks really good. The paint, that white gray color, looks pretty heavily applied on there, but you know, it's good that it's there. At least this time around we get a white band in there. The sculpt of the hair is nice, but the figure is just okay. I don't have anything real special to highlight out of it. The paint apps on there, the white over the green, is applied nicely, so I can't complain about that. We do get that seam in the arm, but that's pretty normal. The white of the pouches and the belt looks really good. This skirt piece is a separate piece, so it kind of can be adjusted in the back, but it is glued right here on the front of the torso. This part right here above the knee is sculpted to represent her boots, and as you can see, there are no pins. So one thing that the Hasbro team mentioned at Toy Fairs with the pinless tech, that we aren't going to get those gummy legs like we have gotten in the past, and you know what? These legs are not gummy. Those things are very stiff and are not going to warp or anything, so I'm really happy about that. That came out really nice. So there is Rogan again. The hands, not a big deal, but let's move on to Pyro, shall we? So Pyro, he looks pretty good, but there's some basic things about this figure. He's on a very good body mold. This is the Spider-Man 2099 body mold, so he has the butterfly joints and everything like that, so that is great. The head sculpts, I think, look really good, came out really nice. I really like the wash that we get in the hair. That looks really good. The orange, the skin tone, the red of the eye lenses, everything about it really, really nice. I even like the wrinkles that they sculpted on over the ears because of how that mask would sit on there. So that is done really nice. We got that little grin there. Again, done very nicely. Looking at the rest of the figure, lots of yellow, bright orange, and red. So it kind of looks like fire. So how about that? There on the back, because he cannot create fire on his own, so he needs something to kind of start that off with. This is all one piece, and yes, it can be removed. These tubes can also unplug from that pack, and it just pegs into the back of the figure. So if we're going to pop this head off, which we'll do to switch out the head anyway, you could remove it and you just kind of get that look for it, like so. So we're going to pop that back on. We're going to port that back into his back, and because of that, it kind of sticks out. You could glue it down if you wanted to. We're going to port those hoses right back on in there, and then we're going to pop on his additional interchangeable head, which really gives that evil, sinister look. I really like this head sculpt. This is my preferred over the two. So both head sculpts with the expressions are the ones that I do like more so. The hoses come around and they wrap around his wrists. So if you pop the hands off, you could remove those, and you have this hose there to where his fire would be coming out. So that is really cool. And then you could just move it around to get it into whatever position that you want. So the flame accessories that he comes with, the problem here is, well, I guess you could try and move the hose back, but it's not really going to give you a whole lot of movement. But these are made to fit over the fist by themselves and not with the hose. So if you turn the hose onto the other side of his wrist, like so, and then you could port the flame on there, and you could do something like that, which wouldn't really be accurate because it's not looking like the flame's coming out of the hose then, but that's the only way that you're going to get it on there. If it's on the back of the hand, like so, and then you try to do that, it's not really going to sit on there too nicely, except now, of course, it's doing it. Earlier, it'll fall off kind of easily, and I guess that really works depending on how you want to do your photography. If that's what you're looking to do, you could do that. But then there's the rest of the figure, but it does look really good. I'm really impressed with that head sculpt. So let's zoom out and look at their articulation. Okay, so Rogue's articulation, she can look down all the way. She can look up somewhat, even though she has that ponytail. It's not hindering too much, but she can't look all the way up. You get the full rotation in there, of course. There is a crazy amount of pivot, unnaturally so you can do some weird things with that. You can get the arms to go up that high, full rotation, of course. Typical female figure, we get a swivel and single jointed elbow. So you're only going to get a 90-degree bend. That's it. So we don't even get that deep cut. We get the diaphragm rocker. So you kind of have to push it a little bit. You can get her to tilt to the side that much. Tilt to the other side that much. You can go back quite a bit. Forward only a little bit. And then you do get some of that twist and swivel in there. Since there is no waist swivel, you can get the legs to go out that far apart, and the skirt piece kind of adjusts up in the back, so that's why it's not glued in the back, only glued in the front. She can't kick forward only a little bit. That skirt piece is kind of a hard rubber piece, so you're not going to get a whole lot going forward. It's really going to hinder that, so just be aware of that. You have an upper thigh cut in there. You get a double jointed knee that is pinless. It is a beautiful looking knee joint right there. I really like that a lot. No boot swivel. She can hinge her foot all the way down, upwards a little bit, ankle pivot, peg holes at the bottom of the feet. So typical female figure articulation that we see with everything. Just the big highlight is the pinless knees. Okay, so Pyro, it's something about this figure, right? I think it's just the way the colors look. It just looks weird, right? Is it just me? He looks too wide. Something about it. But anyway, he can look down. His head kind of goes into his little armor chest piece there. He can look all the way up, so that is good. You get the full rotation, and there is some pivot in there. Not a whole lot, but you do get some. You can get the shoulders to go up that high, which is really good. You can do a full rotation, but then you have the problem with the hoses. But if you just unplug the hose, you can kind of move it around, plug that hose right back in there. We do get that butterfly joint, so he can get the arm to go back that far, which is great. You can get it to go forward and crossbody a little bit, not a huge amount, but you do get some in there. There is that upper bicep swivel. You get a double jointed elbow, which only gives you so much bend there. The wrists swivel and they hinge, and again, you could just move the hose around the wrist however you want. He can crunch forward that much, and this rubber piece is just going to kind of move around with it, and it's kind of unplugging in the back there, but that much forward, that much back, and again, this keeps wanting to come out of there. I don't know why. There we go. So forward, back not as much because this piece is really going to get in the way and hinder that. There is the waist swivel there. Legs are kind of stiff. They can go out that far apart. He can kick forward that high, which is really good. Doesn't really go back. If anything, maybe a tiny bit. You have the upper thigh cut, double jointed knee like so. There is a calf swivel in there. Foot hinges all the way down, hinges up tiny bit, ankle pivot, peg holes at the bottom of the feet. Again, this is one of my favorite body molds, but in the bright color of the yellow, there's something about it where it just looks kind of funky and wide. I'm not sure what it is. Maybe it's just me. You guys let me know down in the comments below if you see that what I'm seeing. So here's a nice side-by-side comparison that I think a lot of folks would want to see. You guys let me know which is your favorite Rogue. So I think a lot of people may like this look, but I think more people are going to like the 90s Jim Lee look. That's my personal favorite. That's the one I'm going to go with. Not that this is a bad figure. I just think it's, you know, when you compare the two looks, then, you know, that's the way it's going to be. Now, here is my thought. I absolutely 100% believe Hasbro is re-releasing this figure in some way. I bet she has these new boots right here, so we don't have these weird floating pieces. And I think we're going to get one, right? Dwight Stahl teased on that live stream a yellow hand holding a glove. Who else is going to remove a yellow glove? It's going to be Rogue, right? So I'm pretty sure this figure will get re-released. So there is a rumored best of X-Men wave that's supposed to be coming. Some folks had said this year. Dan Yun on Twitter actually came out and said there is not a best of X-Men coming in 2020. So I think specifically how he worded it, not this year, but maybe next year. So I think we are going to get a Rogue, new Rogue next year, because that one just goes for crazy money right now. But in the meantime, we have this Rogue, but this one's still the better figure. Okay, so I don't have the Toy Biz Pyro figure. It's about time that Hasbro has given us one. So I can't do a side-by-side comparison with that old one. But what I can do is actually do a side-by-side comparison with this Pyro and this Iceman from the Juggernaut wave. I actually do have the retro one, but I no longer have my loose one. I sold it, and I have it on card hanging up on my wall. So this is the only Iceman I have to do the side-by-side comparisons there. And you can see they're actually about the same height. Okay, so my final thoughts on this 2-pack. I think a lot of folks want the Pyro figure, maybe not want the Rogue figure. So it's one of those difficult ones where Hasbro knows that one figure is definitely more sought after than the other, and it's a $50 2-pack. So it's just kind of one of those difficult things. I think it's a must because that's how you're going to get the Pyro figure, unless you get it by itself loose or something, and then you're going to probably pay $30+ for it, whereas the pack is $50 together. So you just kind of have to weigh it out on what you want to do. I know a lot of folks do like this version of Rogue. Again, mine is the Jim Lee one, but you know, you guys let me know down in the comments below. But I think a solid 2-pack. The hoses on Pyro I think are a nice touch, just a little bit difficult when trying to work those flame effects that go over his fist. Some other flame effects would have been really cool if you can kind of get them to shoot out of the hose or something. That would have been awesome. Unfortunately, we don't have anything like that. I think that would have really set this off in terms of accessories and everything. But, you know, there it is. But you guys let me know your thoughts on this 2-pack. If you guys like this video, please do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe if you haven't already done so, and as always, thank you for watching.